We are now talking to Devy, watch football prospect, evaluator, and writer, Jason DiRienzo. What's going on, Jason?
What's going on, guys? Doing awesome. And you nailed the last name, by the way. So I'm glad when I put that in there, it worked out with the DiRienzo. That's good. I'm glad that worked.
I am very bad with pronouncing names.
You and me would have a tie then. I'm horrible.
Yes.
I butcher names all the time, so don't feel bad.
Trust me, I butcher names really, really badly, especially hockey names. We've had a bunch of hockey players over the years on the show, and I've butchered their names, and they look at me and they're like, "What the hell? Do you know how to pronounce a name?" And what's so funny about hockey, ex-hockey players, hockey announcers, they have what are you saying over here?
What? Who's that?
Our guest?
Oh, hello.
Where are you coming from?
Oh, you don't want to know. I'm
sure.
in pain. I'm hurting right now.
Are you done?
Oh.
Are you done?
No, I
Tell
hope
us
so.
where you've been.
I don't know.
Now we know.
Yeah, well, he was laying.
Oh, man.
Laying whatever he was laying over there.
It was laying me. I wasn't laying anything.
Okay. Long John Silver Snug says.
Long John Silver Snug.
Oh, no.
Man.
Yeah, but it's so funny because we've had hockey players on the show and hockey announcers, and they all have girls' names. And I wonder what they do over there in Canada. I guess they name it because they're dual citizenship. I don't know what it is, but they have girls' names over there. Ashley, we've heard Erica. Well, I've heard Erica. That they pronounce it as Erica.
Our Islanders guest a couple months ago was Michelle.
Michelle. I mean,
yeah.
It's great. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I make fun and they don't like it. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. Anyways, Jason, before we get into some prospects and football conversation with you, tell us a little bit about how you became a football prospect evaluator, and what made you start writing.
Yeah, so I spent some time overseas in Japan. I was in the United States Navy, and when you're overseas and you can't, hey, thanks, man. When you can't watch football because it's on at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning and you're out to sea and there's no way to freaking watch it, you start missing the things that you appreciate. So I was like, you know what? When I get out, when I'm back, I'm watching some football. Started doing it. Now I have a personal training background, strength coach background. So as I'm watching it, I started seeing some, player movements, and I'm like, man, there's something to some of these prospects and players that I'm watching. Let me just post on Twitter what I think about them. And next thing I know, I was like, you know what, let me start writing what I think they could become. And before I knew it, I was just getting like, hey, tell me what you think about this guy. Tell me what you think about this guy. And it just kind of all evolved from that to the point where I joined Dynasty Football Factory first, moved on to the Devy Watch with a couple of the guys that we started doing Devy Watch there. And Dan Hatman of the Scouting Academy reached out to me and said, hey, man, he's like, I got some opportunities for you, and took some courses with him through the Scouting Academy. And that was one of the best opportunities I've had. Now I'm just completely and utterly addicted to the evaluation process.
You're a scout freak.
I'm a scout freak.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we could call. I gave you a nickname. We'll call you.
I like it.
Jason, the Scout Freak DiRienzo. I like that.
I might have to change the Twitter handle from All Purpose Scout to Scout Freak.
I like the Scout Freak. I like that. We'll call you the Scout Freak.
He's very unique with nicknames.
Yes, I am. I am very much, what we call him.
He's not good. He's unique, though.
We call him the mothball.
Not good with pronunciation. But
Yeah,
good with
it's funny. They can't pronunciate, but they think a lot.
Yeah, he's called, his nickname is Tyler, a.k.a. Mothball Harrison. You know what we use mothballs for, right?
How long did that one come on? I'm curious.
It's been
like 4 years.
4 years ago.
And Speedy Petey. We got Speedy Petey over here. Don't
encourage him.
Errol's convinced that my face looked like the kids from the 1979 version of Pete's Dragon.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Well, Speedy Petey just flows anyway.
Yeah, it does. And he talks.
That's a rock star name.
And Jason, he talks very fast. So you'll see.
I was actually listening to you guys before we jumped on, and I heard the It reference when trying to get my name, and I was like, of course, the one movie that got me scared of clowns, and as I grew up, I decided, if I encounter one, I'm just going to hit them. Of course, you guys reference It, so I thought that was pretty
You're going to be...
What's It?
Shut up, you. You're going to become a fan of this show. I really do. You'll start watching this show because we are crazy. We love
Speak for
getting.
yourself.
Well, I am crazy, but I know what I'm talking about too. It's not like I'm just completely lost. You, on the other hand, sometimes
Just bring up the Jets. You'll see how crazy he gets.
No, I
bring
don't.
up the Jets.
No, I don't. Actually, I take shots at the Jets all the time. I don't know what he's talking about. It just shows you how stupid he really is. But Jason,
I can only imagine how many Jets Giants back and forth you guys have on this show.
It's not much. They both suck. What's there to go back?
Yeah,
and
that's
forth
what I'm saying. When it's easy to be angry at a team when they suck. Hey, I'm a Bears fan, so trust me, I understand the rants.
Yes. So why don't we get into the draft? Okay. So
Let's do it.
Right now, Jacksonville is sitting at number 1. If somehow they beat the Colts this coming week, they could fall all the way to 2nd. But I don't think that's going to happen. When you look at the number 1 pick right now, and predominantly we're hearing it's Hutchinson. What do you know about Hutchinson that really stands out to you? Do you think he's the predominant number 1 pick in this year's draft?
I don't. I love Aidan Hutchinson. He put on quite the performance this year. Shows a lot of nuance, very intelligent with the way he uses his moves to, beat the tackles and get around the edge. But I think Kayvon Thibodeaux's the dark horse here for that number 1 pick. I just think that he just shows dominance on a different level than Aidan Hutchinson. Hutchinson, if you want to call it this way, Hutchinson has an outstanding solid floor of consistency. I think that we'll see game to game, where Kayvon Thibodeaux he has the upside. I think he could just pop off and have some monstrous games, maybe veer off a little bit, but I don't know, man. I like Kayvon Thibodeaux a little bit more out of Oregon. That would fit nicely with those Jags.
So one of the deeper positions in this draft is cornerback right now. Derek Stingley's the consensus number 1, but you got the 2 Cincinnati corners. You got guys like Andrew Booth, the kid McDuffie from Washington, who's been nice. So what do you think about the 2nd through 4th end corner prospects? How early do you think those guys could go? We see it be a priority position in recent drafts because of it's a passing league, but some years they don't go as early as expected.
Yeah, I think Sauce Gardner is going to be an interesting one. I think that he has the talent to be in the top 10. Some team might fall in love with him and take him, within the top 6, top 5 even, just because I was looking at some of his game and I'm like, man, this kid is a shutdown corner. And I started looking at some of the stats. He hasn't allowed a pass over 20 yards the entire season, which is pretty impressive. Played outstanding against Alabama. Derek Stingley Jr. is a highly athletic corner, really popped off his freshman year, but I did see him give up quite a bit of yards to some of the top rated receivers, and he was riddled by injury this season, didn't really get a chance to play. It's been a while since we've seen him on the field, so as much as I like Derek Stingley Jr., I'm a little bit cautious of him with some of the big plays I saw him give up. But yeah, corner, I got to say Sauce Gardner is my guy, man. That dude is just ridiculous.
So every year, there's always a team, and the quarterback carousel starts around this time of year. This guy's going, this guy's coming. Oh, this team's drafting so-and-so. For about 8 months, everyone was talking about this being a very weak quarterback class. Now, I'm going to completely divert to you on this. Is there a guy in this class you're looking at going, I don't know why this guy is not getting praised to be a franchise quarterback? Because if this guy gets drafted, he's going to help a team succeed.
No, I don't really see a quarterback that can be labeled that where I can bang the table for him. But I will say that I'm very interested in Matt Corral and Sam Howell. Those are the two I feel most comfortable with. I know Carson Strong is a hot name right now. The Kenny Pickett love, I understand from what he's done this season, but I've watched Kenny Pickett for a while. He had 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions last year, and I believe the same exact stat the year before that. To me, Jordan Addison, the Biletnikoff Award winner receiver, had a lot to do with how Kenny Pickett played this year and how well he did. I'm not going to take away any of what Pickett did as far as NFL throws and some of the unstructured throws and off-platform throws and everything that he was able to make, but I do think that he's a cautious tale for me to feel comfortable with. But yeah, Corral and Howell are the ones that I just feel the best about.
We are talking to Devi Watch football prospect evaluator and writer Jason DiRienzo. So we talk about what kind of draft this is going to be this year. The last couple of years, it was wide receivers, offensive linemen. This year has become really a thought of a defensive draft. A lot of corners, a lot of defensive linemen. What is your thoughts? And I've been talking highly of this guy. A lot of our fans have been telling us about this Purdue pass rusher, Karl Loftus, who I can't pronounce his last name. I always mess his last name is. And one of our fans and a guy that really listens to the show, he tells me this guy predominantly could be the best pass rusher in this year's draft. He could be better than Hutchinson. He could be better than Thibodeaux. What are your thoughts to Karl Loftus, and where does he land? Where does he fall in this year's draft?
I like him a lot. I'm not going to speak too much of what I think of him as a prospect because I haven't done the deep dive yet. I really want to be able to do that to speak to what I think he can be. But from what I've seen on the field and watching him play, I think he's definitely a first-round pick, probably somewhere in the middle. All it takes is one team, guys. And I think that it takes one team to really just say, I love this kid, I love the upside, and I'm taking him. I don't deny a lot of the people that have been talking him up that he definitely deserves to be in that first round.
So being it's not a big quarterback draft, do you see still instances where teams will trade up into the top 10 where they might go for that pass rusher, that top offensive lineman? You got to win football games in the trenches. Or do you think it's more of a straightforward year like we saw in 2020 where there wasn't much trading up with the no training camp, no combine and anything like that?
I do think that some teams are going to be trading up because there's quite a few needs at a quarterback. So desperation will make teams do things that you just like speak to your mind. Like what is happening? Like, why are you doing this in a draft where it's not that strong? But landing spot is also key, right? So as much as I like Matt Corral and Sam Howell, where they land will play into that. But you also have Malik Willis, who's got a lot of upside. I personally don't see it, but the upside I can understand. Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati. And I've talked about Carson Strong. So it only takes one team to fall in love with a player. I do think that we'll probably see one or two of these quarterbacks go in the top 10.